Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Paul, and No Way Homelander is getting worse and worse and worse. The guy has fully unleashed the more psychotic side of his personality, and since removing Stan Edgar as CEO of Vought, it seems like nothing can stop him. But is there a way to take him down? Well, throughout this video, we're going to be going through all our theories on what we think is going to be happening in the show. This contains comic spoilers, so if you don't want anything potentially ruined, then I'll recommend that you turn off now. If you enjoy them, please hit the thumbs up button, and also don't forget to subscribe for videos like this every day. With out of the way, thank you for clicking this. Now let's get into the boys. Okay, so throughout the series so far, we've heard of a weapon that's capable of taking down Homelander. The boys ventured out to Russia in search of this, and after breaking into a lab to get the rumoured BCL Red, they came across Soldier Boy. Now BCL Red is a compound that contains the BCL2 gene. Injecting this into someone can prevent certain breakdowns in the body, and it is theorized that it can put somebody into stasis. We find this mirrored in Soldier Boy, who has been contained for several summers and winter soldiers. Now there's two things that I gather from what BCL Red does in the show, and that is that it puts someone into hibernation. However, this stasis could potentially remove the abilities of a soup. After getting blasted with Soldier Boy's chest beam, Kimiko was left unconscious and unable to heal. The power of her healing factor was demonstrated earlier on in the episode when she took a shot to the face like Ryan Airy's mom on a Friday night. Now I think this scene was put in place to set up her healing abilities so that when she lost them later on, it was more impactful. Huge shoutouts to Dr. Debunk on YouTube for commenting on our last video and saying that he thinks Soldier Boy can completely strip a soup of their powers, which I think could be a big possibility. This would mean that he would be someone who could stop Homelander, as he'd level the playing field and allow him to be taken down. Homelander of course did a big rant about how he was better than everyone else, and him doing this could be setting up the fact he's going to be stripped of his powers. This Soldier Boy storyline is completely absent in the comics, and the source material has him as someone who sleeps with Homelander, which this series doesn't seem to be doing. Now speaking of people that aren't in the comics, there's also Ryan Airy, who sucks about as much as his mum does on a Friday night. Now the show has had lots of fatherly relationships throughout it, and we've seen this through Billy and his dad, Mother's Milk and Janine, Stan Edgar and Victoria, and so on and so forth. The main one is of course Ryan and Homie though, and this is something I think will become pivotal to the series. Ryan is currently under the care of Mallory and the CIA, but we know that Homelander is still searching for him. I think it's only a matter of time before he gains enough power to track down the lad, and after ousting Edgar out of Vought, he probably has enough resources and intelligence to find him. But Ryan of course has the same powers as his dad, including those eye lasers that Homelander constantly spams. May come down to a choice where he has to kill his real father in order to save his surrogate one in Billy, and I think Ryan definitely has the potential to take out his dear old dad. Now it's also possible that Homelander has another son in Teddy Stillwell. In the first season he had a bit of a weird relationship with Madeline, and even got jealous over the boy because he was breastfed. Bit weird. Alright, anyway. Milk. So Homelander ended up killing Madeline with laser eye surgery, and then Billy attempted to blow himself and Homie up. We had no idea what happened to Teddy, except for a little line about him being dropped off 17 miles away. Initially, this seemed like it could have been Homelander, but come the third season, we now know what the more likely scenario is. Here he goes to Red River, and here he comes across an orphan named Teddy Stillwell that has the ability to teleport. I think they could likely be setting him up as a future soup, and as Homelander killed his mother, he'll likely want revenge if he ever finds this out. Now we also know there's going to be a boys spin-off show centering around some soups in college, so who knows, we might even get an older Ryan and Teddy feature in this. Now there's also the possibility that Victoria will end up being the one who blows his head, but I'm actually not sure if she's strong enough. She clearly fears for her life and her daughter, which is why she ended up injecting Compound V into her. Victoria is also based on the character Vic the Veep, who ends up becoming the president in the comics. Homelander beheaded him, and I actually think the same thing will probably happen to Vic, with there being a bit of irony to her being the one that loses her head for once. Now this plotline could end up tying into Black Noir. In the comics he plays a major role, and is actually the one that takes Homelander down. After Homie killed the president and invaded the White House, Black Noir was sent in after him. This is something that we also got a hint towards in the recent anime show, The Boys Diabolical.
Noir is not there to teach you. He is there to watch you. make sure you don't screw up and embarrass the company, and bring you in if you do.
So the series also seems like it's setting up Black Noir as a rival to Homelander, and this has major ties to the comics, in that he was a clone of the character who was told that his one purpose in life was to kill the Superman if he ever went off the leash. However, Homelander stuck to the rules for several years, and slowly this sent Black Noir insane. He'd been robbed of the meaning of his existence, and thus he started to plot and plan. Noir dressed up as Homelander and carried out several crimes, which he photographed and sent to the character. Unable to remember any of these things happening, he assumed that he'd blacked out and carried them out because he was crazy. However, rather than being remorseful, it just emboldened him more, and he ended up going all out. Noir killed Homelander after revealing the truth to him, which ended my boy's run in the comics. The saddest thing about this was that Homelander realized that he could have actually been a hero, but he'd spent his last few years being as evil as possible because of Black Noir's manipulation. From that point, Butcher kills Noir, and he actually ends up becoming the major villain in the final arc of the comics. Unless you count Dear Becky, but that's more of a diary thing. Anyway, you don't care. Now in the show, Black Noir is completely different, and he is of course not a clone of Homelander. Instead, it seems like he was severely brain damaged, and from this point out, he's likely being controlled by Edgar. In Season 2, when he went after Butcher, we saw that he was very much an attack dog for the CEO, which could be brought into the show. Edgar clearly isn't scared of Homelander, and he likely still has Black Noir in his back pocket to take him down if it comes to it. Now Butcher in the show seems like he's slowly succumbing to Compound V's addiction. He's had signs of withdrawal symptoms, and in episode 4, it seems like he's hooked on the power that it provides. In the comics, the boys all took Compound V without any real issues, but here, there's far more of an internal battle. Early on in the season, we also had Homelander visit Butcher, and though this might have been a vision, it could hint towards what's to come. The scene was very reminiscent of the one on the Brooklyn Bridge in the comics, in which they both very much tease towards going on a collision course with one another. I think this will also be brought into the show, and that the pair will end up fighting each other at some point very, very soon. Earlier on, we discussed how Ryan could end up taking down his dad in order to save Billy, but the roles could also end up being reversed. That's because Butcher might be put in a position where he has to save Ryan. Showing that he'd taken Compound V would break the lad's heart, but it would be a necessary move by Billy to stop him from being killed. However, he'd likely know that Ryan would never forgive him, and he'd have to sacrifice his relationship with his surrogate son in order to save the world. That's what heroes do though, baby, but it might end up putting Butcher on a much darker path. In the comics, after the death of Homelander, he continued his mission to kill everyone with Compound V inside them, and this included the boys. I think that after Homelander dies, that he'll realize no one should have the power that V provides, and that he'll set out on this mission for the final few episodes. Anyway, that's the list of everyone that we think could kill Homelander. I call this video throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks, and until we get the answers, I'd love to hear your thoughts below on what you think will happen. We're running a competition right now and giving away 3 copies of Everything Everywhere All at Once on the 15th of July, and all you have to do to be on the chance of winning is like the video, make sure you subscribe with notifications on, and drop a comment below with your thoughts and theories. We pick the comments at random at the end of the month, and the winners of the last one are on screen right now, so message me at heavy spoilers if that's you. If you want something else to watch, then make sure you check out our rating of the last episode, which will be linked on screen right now. Lots of Easter eggs in it and callbacks to the comics, so if you're enjoying the show, definitely head over there right after this. With that out of the way, thanks for sticking through the video. I've been Paul, I'll see you next time. Take care, peace.